Okay, here we go. Whew, fuck me. Hello and welcome to another Warcraft the Audio Commentary. Today we're going to be watching a game. It's game number 2 from the IFeng Cup Best of 3 between two of our legendary favorite players today. We love these guys. We love game number 1. We're going to love game number 2. So let's look at them. Let's see who they are. In the lower left corner, we happen to have a blue undead. It's Lucifer! Ha! Yes, he's going to be playing this game. He's going to have a wonderful time. Will he win? Will he lose? No one knows, but he's my favorite player. So I hope he wins. And that's not bias. That's bias. So the map is going to be, I want to say Amazonia. I want to say it. We have, in the upper right part of the map, a red orc. He is spawning in. Look at him. He's smug. He is. WE.Fly. Yes, he is. And he is looking strong recently. I'm liking his results. I'm liking what he's doing. I always think Lucifer is going to win everything. So that's just my default. Like, every game that I see Lucifer, I'm like, he's probably going to win this game. And then if he doesn't, who knows? So if Lucifer loses this game, I'm going to be very sad. But I think he's going to win it. That's my default. It's just what I feel is important. I feel like Lucifer deserves to win every game because he is just awesome. But I don't know why we're still talking about it. Anyway, so Lucifer scouting with an acolyte, seeing what's up. He wants to know. He's doing looks like a Ted Fiends build here. Gonna go ahead and get himself the nice Teddy Fiends. Question about the Ted Fiends, there's three basic variations to playing this strategy. You can go a second ziggurat before you tech. You can get a Nubian Tower, another tech. You have basically you have a couple options, and that depends, and it kind of depends on when you get your first fiend. If you go for the second ziggurat, then you can get the fiend a little bit later. You know, because you're going to get the ziggurat before the fiend. If you want to go for the fiend before the tech, you can do that as well, as long as you're at 17 out of 20 or 16 out of 20 feet, however you want to do it. That depends on whether or not you go 3 or 4 goals. And the other thing is getting the Nubian pretty early in the game. If you get the Nubian Tower really early, one of the things about doing that is if you're expecting a lot of harass or fights in your base, you can delay the fiend if you're doing a very strong harass from the Death Knight out here, because you're not going to be creeping, so you may as well get the tech. It's more important. Over here, we're going to see these skeletons just doing a bit of damage to the wood income of Fly, which is going to matter because, as you can see, he's got the gold right now to tech up, but he doesn't have the wood, so that's going to delay him. And that means he can do... Really, I don't know if he's going to make any use of that, or if he's got the wood now, but it did delay him a little bit, so, you know. If Lucifer now decides to do some kind of a tier 2 timing push, it's going to hit just a little bit faster, could do a little bit more damage. It's rare to see those things by themselves make a difference, but when you do a lot of little things that delay the orc, and then you do a timing push, you might end up being way ahead. And, you know, you might be a fiend or 2 fiends ahead or something like that if you do a timing push. You can do tier 3 timings. The thing is if you start throwing someone off with their timings, the more you do it over the shorter time period, the bigger of an advantage you have. So things like that, they really add up. But down here, we've seen some pretty efficient play from Mr. Lucifer himself. I believe we saw him get the second ziggurat before the first fiend. Now he's getting the second fiend out. And he's just now coming back to his base to start creeping. And all he needs is that one fiend. That second fiend will be done pretty soon. And that's going to allow him to basically have a good amount of not map control early on, but a good map presence with that Death Knight just out on the map, and not wasting any time with resources at home on fiends that are just sitting there doing nothing. So instead, we can look at the tech timing. Look at this. He is at the G, so what, 82%, and he's well ahead Fly. Last game, what we saw was kind of the opposite. Fly had this faster tech. Now Lucifer did go with a different build that does tech a little bit later, but nonetheless, in this game we can see that Lucifer is going to be getting the first tech, which is good. for him, because it's a wonderful thing to have. But here comes the level 3 Blade Master. This is a bit of an issue because he is level 1 on the Death Knight, and this is where that harass is really going to hurt him. He wants to get level 2 if he can. If he gets that stolen, he's going to not let that happen. That would have been really bad, because then he would not have even had Unholy Aura, which is important for your speed of units to micro right here. It's just you need to have as much speed as possible, because these guys are going to be coming around your base and just doing as much damage as possible right now. But he is tier 2 with the Halls of the Dead, so he can use that as a Nubian Tower. He's got to make sure not to get surrounded on his Death Knight, and he gets surrounded on his Death Knight, so he's going to be forced into a town portal, which he doesn't want to be having to use right now. It's one of those units that the undead desperately needs to have, because of the fact that there is always a big threat with the Orc just going ahead and right-clicking that Death Knight when you're out in a fight, and the Death Knight being slightly in the wrong spot and getting war stomped and focused down, and just you have to have it for that reason. And look how fast he is. Look how fast he is. The Orc pushes away, and he immediately, without skipping a beat, starts killing the creeps. Goes for the little creep first. Not a bad choice. I don't know if it makes any difference. I think he should kill the little creeps first, because the Blade Master's most likely around. And then it gives you a little bit more time to get this big creep, but unfortunately in this case, not going to happen. However, if he had gone for the big creep first and then killed the little creeps, then the Blade Master would have definitely taken the big creep and then might have stolen one of the little creeps. So it's a good little order, and again, the little things that sometimes you can do to give yourself an advantage, even if you know you're not going to get the big creeps. That's okay. He tried with he went for the coil, just didn't work out. Killing another creep, always wonderful. Always wonderful. You got to make sure you get those kills. If you're not level 3, you're having a bad day as the undead in this matchup, especially if they are level 3. And also notice he's got a Scourge Bone Chimes. That gives him Vampiric Aura. And Fly, we already saw last game went 6 grunts. I mean, 6 grunts? Are you kidding me? 6 grunts, 2 raiders, a Torn Chieftain, a Blade Master. Are we seeing a similar strategy? I bet we are. And with that Vampiric Aura, that's going to be a big deal. 15% life steal per hit. It doesn't sound like a lot, because it's like maybe 2 life, 3 life, 4 life here, there, whatever. It adds up. It adds up a whole lot, because we're talking about big units. They attack a lot of times before they die, and every one of those attacks pretty much gets to heal them up. It makes 800 HP ground, which right now they're 700, but I'm sure they're on their way to being 800. Yes, they are. It makes them 1,000 HP unit, or 1,100 HP unit instead, unless they get focused down. So, and that's one of the things. One of the key things, without a doubt, if you're playing against a Vampiric Aura, you don't want to split your damage. You normally don't want to split your damage ever anyway, and there are some rare situations where you do. Oh, getting stunned by the Kobold and still getting right-clicked by the Blade Master is really, really bad for him. The Lich coming out now, finally going to be able to start casting Frost Armor and moving out across the map and working on that level 3 just a little bit more. But it's an issue, because the Tauren Chieftain, he's on level 2, and he's going to get that Scourge Bone Chimes to make creeping a little bit easier for him. This is not the best situation for Lucifer ever to be in, I'll be honest, because he has to be careful not to get called out into a bad spot here. If Fly goes for an expansion again, that could be pretty rough, but he is actually going for the Fortress Play, so never mind, he's not doing that. He might get the tier 3 expansion, he probably will, because he's probably going to have map control at this point. We're going to see the Undead player. He is way late. He had to go for the safe tier 2 because of the fact that his Death Knight just didn't have any options. It was taking so much damage. He needed the statue out, he needed the Lich out, and if you got to have both of those guys out, that means you have to delay your Black Citadel attack. You don't have a choice, and that also means that he's going to have to deal having this mid-game army against a level 3 Tauren Chieftain and a level 3 Blade Master with pretty much whatever composition that Fly wants to run, which you really don't want to be in that situation. The Orc at 40 out of 40 food, getting that Orc Burrow. I would almost want to say it's a late, but it's probably not, because he's been saving up resources to buy up the shop because he was creeping. He might sell something. Yeah, he sells the Illyrias. So here in just a second, he could probably run in a Blade Master if he decides to, and pick up an Orb of Lightning as well, which is not exactly cheap. All orbs, cost anywhere from 300 to 400 gold, roughly. So having the extra gold saved up is definitely going to help him. And also, you can see, kind of plan this out a little bit. It looks like if he buys the Orb of Lightning right now, which he does, then before it was looking like he was low on wood. Now it doesn't look so much like he's low on wood. So kind of cool things that you can see. The good macro from the good players. Good players, good macro, good wins, good games. That works. Yeah, so the Undead at this point definitely doesn't want to fight without the Orb of Corruption, but he might be forced into a fight. Also, notice he still doesn't have a TP. He can't really... he might afford... I can't see his gold. Yeah, Does he? No, he doesn't have the gold for a TP. And the worst part is he's not going to have the gold for a TP for a while. If he gets one, he's sacrificing something important. He needs a third hero, so that's an extra 400 gold. He needs an orb, that's an extra 400 gold. Roughly, we don't want to do the math. But, I mean, you're roughly saying that's 800 gold. Plus, if you add on a TP, that's another 350, so... It adds up. It adds up so fast. And all of that because of one move that the Orc made. And without those stuff, he can't move out. He can't do anything. He's just stuck sitting in his base, which means the Orc has free reign. He can creep out an expansion if he wants. He can creep up to level 4. He can get an expansion if he actually wants to with a slow guy. He can get one with a Voodoo Lounge dude if he has the money, which he doesn't. But, Lucifer doesn't really know that because he hasn't really gotten a lot of scouting off. Nothing really to know. Going for the statue with the Blade Master because you can't coil these things. I think it would be nice if you could coil them. Personally, I think that would be a big help in this matchup. But because every game, what's the one thing you see happen to those statues? They get focused right down every single time. Bringing the ghoul, it's one of those units that it's good to have it. It's a fighting unit. It's a tanking unit. That Blade Master is just being the worst. He just stole a potion of greater mana. That would have been a wonderful item for this undead to have. And now he is getting ready to get into a really bad spot. If that orc gets into a spot behind him, he has no way out, and he's just all clumped up into a ball, which is the worst thing you can be versus a Tauren Chieftain. He did get a Dark Ranger, but it is not in this fight at all right now. Here comes that Tauren Chieftain. There's no silence. There's nothing. He's silent. He got to stomp on 3 fiends, 4 fiends, and the Death Knight. He's right in the middle of the army. He's right where he wants to be because he has a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. He hasn't had to use it yet. He goes ahead and pops it after just to break the silence. Gets another wonderful stomp, slumming over 60% of the undead army. The undead's trying to kind of micro this, but look, he's gotten a third big stomp off, and he's got enough mana to go ahead and, well, he's got not enough mana yet, but he will have enough mana with that Potion of Greater Mana to go ahead and pop it off again. Not going to happen because he popped it, but he got silenced. Good call by Lucifer. Really good to actually try to pull this around a little bit. Was able to force the TP out, or the TC out, but unfortunately, he was just getting destroyed there, and he had nowhere to micro, and that Death Knight was about to die. So that was a really unfortunate end. Yeah. In that case, I'm hesitant to criticize, but in that case, he could have had skeletons running across the map. They probably would have been picked off. They almost certainly would have been picked off by the Blade Master. But here's the thing. You get vision, and if Lucifer had known that was going to come, he would never have fought in that spot. That was a terrible fight spot. It was just the worst spot to fight him. And he could have pulled the creeps out. He could have played that safer. I know he was worried because he knew there was a Blade Master right on top of him, but no matter how you look at that just going there was just... It was debatable. It was really questionable, really, because that the Tauren Chieftain's at least level 3, which means it has Endurance Aura, so the Orc army is very fast, and that's not a very large map. So no matter where he is, unless he's in the middle of a creep that he can't get out of, going that far out of your base and starting to creep in a pretty much just a little concave area that's going to trap you if he comes around behind you, and you don't have a TP, Lucifer, you're my favorite player, but I don't know if that was a smart move. But that was game number 2, and Lucifer lost game number 1, so good game. So there won't be a third game. I'm going to have to close the stream a little bit early tonight because I've got to go take out the trash, and that sounds like a pretty normal, mundane task, but for me right now, I'm telling you, the trash, the stuff where the trash is, where I have to put all the trash, is a pretty far away from where I live. I have to, it's a trek, and I still have to get to bed tonight. So thanks for watching, everyone. I will see you tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have some more games. Hopefully we'll have some really good games tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to. I didn't stream yesterday. I'm sorry. I know. I did explain that. It was a terrible mess. I'm sorry, but yeah, we will be back tomorrow with more games, and hopefully we'll do the full hour. We will definitely do the full hour tomorrow. But thanks for watching, everyone. I will see you next time. You're the best. I love you. Goodbye.